Harold Bennett had built his name on dignity. A man of quiet values and grand vision, he created a luxury senior resort called Golden Haven, where aging wasn't something to be feared. It was something to be honored. But when he received an anonymous letter from a grieving son, accusing one of his locations of humiliating an elderly guest over a simple request, Harold didn't call a meeting. He packed a duffel bag, removed his Rolex, and entered his own facility in a second-hand cardigan and scuffed loafers as just another aging guest. Harold was 67, but in the mirror he made himself look older. He wore oversized glasses and hunched his posture, slowing his walk just slightly. At check-in, he introduced himself as Mr. Harris, a retired librarian looking for peace and a soft bed after recovering from hip surgery. The receptionist barely looked up from her screen. "ID?" she asked dryly, not even smiling. Harold handed her a fake temporary license. She didn't seem to notice or care. As he looked around the pristine lobby of Golden Haven, with its marble floors and polished railings, a pit formed in his stomach. Everything looked perfect on paper, but appearances didn't show how people were treated when the curtains were closed. The first sign something was wrong came just an hour later. From his room window, Harold watched a slow-moving man, maybe 80, struggle to carry a lunch tray to his table in the cafeteria. His hands were shaky, his cane leaning awkwardly against the wall behind him. A young staff member walked right past him twice without offering help. That night, Harold asked for an extra pillow. A housekeeping staff member named Marla, in her early 40s, came to his door. She handed it to him with a tight, forced smile. "That'll be $7.50, sir. It's an off-hours service," she added without a contact. Harold blinked. "I didn't see that fee listed." "It's policy," she replied quickly. "If you want extras, they cost. Management says we have to charge." Harold took the pillow but noted the detail. At breakfast the next day, Harold made his way to the communal lounge where residents could request shuttle rides or assistance with outings. There, he met Mr. Lionel Grant, a retired schoolteacher, 82 years old, with soft gray eyes and a kind demeanor. Lionel was trying to schedule a ride to a medical appointment. That's when Tricia, the on-site concierge and supervisor in her late 30s with a clipped voice and perfect posture, leaned over the counter and said loudly, "That'll be an extra $20. We don't run errands for free, Mr. Grant." "But my plan is full service," Lionel replied gently. "It always included medical rides." "Not anymore. New policy. You want special treatment, you pay for it," Tricia snapped. Other guests looked away. Mr. Grant's hands trembled. He nodded quietly and stepped aside. Harold's jaw tightened. That night, Harold approached Lionel during the evening game hour. Over cards, the truth came. "My son wrote to corporate, you know," Lionel said, adjusting his glasses. "Told them how Tricia treated me. She started charging me last month just for someone to walk me to the dining hall. Said I was too demanding. All I did was ask for a little help." Harold's voice was steady. "And has anyone followed up?" "Not a word," Lionel chuckled bitterly. "That letter probably ended up in a trash can." Harold looked him in the eyes and simply said, "Maybe not." The next morning, Harold asked for a copy of the facility's updated policy booklet. There was no mention of extra charges for pillows, rides, or escort help. These fees were unofficial and possibly being pocketed. He pretended to struggle down the hallway and timed how long it took for someone to offer help. They didn't. The next morning, Harold didn't wear the faded cardigan. He arrived at the lobby in a tailored navy suit, his shoulders squared, posture upright. The receptionist barely recognized him. "Can I help you, sir?" she asked, politely this time. "No need," he replied calmly. "I know my way around." He walked past the desk and into the heart of the building. Employees greeted him with confused looks. Some whispered, but Tricia, the supervisor, wasn't paying attention. Yet, Harold stopped outside the staff meeting room and cleared his throat. Every employee present turned toward him. Tricia was seated at the center, flipping through paperwork. "Good morning," Harold said. "I believe it's time we had a conversation. All of us." She furrowed her brow. "I'm sorry. This is a staff-only meeting." "I am staff," he interrupted, stepping further into the room. "In fact, I'm more than staff. I'm Harold Bennett, founder and CEO of Golden Haven." Gasps erupted. A few employees stood in shock. Tricia's face drained of color. Harold calmly set a small recorder on the table. "This device captured something I never expected to hear in one of my own facilities. I asked for a ride to the pharmacy. Instead, I was quoted an illegal fee. And that's not the only example." He turned to the rest of the room. "Over the past 3 days, I've seen elderly guests ignored, overcharged, and humiliated for asking for simple help that's supposed to be included. And no one, not one of you, intervened." Tricia stammered, trying to regain composure. "This has to be a misunderstanding. Those fees were meant to..." "To what?" Harold snapped. "Exploit the vulnerable? Line your pockets? Intimidate people who've already given their lives to building this country?" Silence. He faced the staff again. "I created Golden Haven to offer dignity, not debt. We don't upcharge people for pillows, shuttle rides, or walking them to dinner." He took a deep breath. "As of this moment, Tricia Reynolds, you are relieved of your position. A full investigation will follow. Any staff found complicit in these schemes will face disciplinary action, up to and including legal charges." Tricia looked like she might speak, but the words never came. She lowered her eyes. Then Harold's voice softened. "But this isn't just about who failed. It's also about who showed integrity." Harold looked across the room and spotted Danny, a young part-time staffer in her early 20s. During his time undercover, he'd noticed her quietly assisting Lionel when no one else did, off the clock without ever asking for praise. "Danny," he said, motioning her forward, "you probably thought no one noticed when you walked Mr. Grant to the dining hall, or when you stayed late to help him book his doctor's ride." She froze, wide-eyed. I just thought he needed help, sir." "You didn't do it for a bonus. You did it because it was right." He pulled a folded envelope from his coat pocket. "Inside is your promotion. You're now the resident care coordinator for this facility. You'll help us rebuild what trust we've lost. I'll personally mentor you." Danny stood still, stunned. Then the room, silent only moments ago, broke into applause. After the meeting, Harold made one more stop. He found Lionel in the garden, feeding birds with trembling hands. When Lionel looked up and saw him, he nearly dropped the feed. "Mr. Harris?" Harold smiled. "Not quite. My real name is Harold Bennett." Lionel's jaw dropped. "Wait, you're the man your son wrote to, and I read every word." Lionel looked down, voice cracking. "I just wanted to feel safe here again." Harold sat beside him. "You will. No more hidden fees. No more cruelty. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." Tears welled in Lionel's eyes. "Thank you." Harold placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You deserve better. Everyone here does." Over the next 2 weeks, Harold made sweeping changes. Hidden policies were removed. Resident feedback was now reviewed monthly in person. Staff received empathy training. And Danny worked side by side with Harold's executive team, designing a new standard for Golden Haven facilities nationwide. Harold didn't return to corporate right away. He stayed another month, not as a CEO, but as a resident. He ate meals with guests, listened to stories, learned names. The sign outside the building was changed too. Golden Haven, where dignity comes first. As he walked the halls one final time, a resident smiled at him and said, "Mr. Bennett, thank you for coming back." Harold nodded. "Sometimes," he said, "you have to walk through the front doors with no title to truly remember who you built them for." If this story moved you, If you believe kindness and respect still matter in this world, please take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us of the humanity we all deserve.